Good afternoon. Are you having a great time at this great conference? All this free food, free books, free information. Bill Rancic, wasn't he fabulous this morning? It was just great. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. A little bit of housekeeping here. First of all, let me introduce myself in case you don't know who I am. I'm Rhonda Abrams. I'm the small business columnist for USA Today. I'm a small business owner myself. I own a company called Planning Shop. I'm an author of many books, including Hire Your First Employee, which is here and free for you. So I get my Oprah moment. You get a book, and you get a book. So if you out there by the fireplace, there are stacks of books, and I will be there. I have another session after this, so you can come join me over there. And then after that session, I'll be there signing. But you can, if you don't want to wait for me to sign, come get one free anyway if you have some place to go. So a couple of things. I'm going to moderate this panel on small business owners. We're going to have some time for questions, and when we get to that, just raise your hand and a runner will come with the mic. We're going to also welcome the people who are online who aren't here at this beautiful Mountain View campus, and in case there's a question about them. And they can also tweet. The hashtag is HireSmart. You can also tweet all the words of wisdom you're going to hear today. And just feel free to, we're going to have some questions after that. One of the things that we know, and we were just talking about this, is small business owners love to learn and share with other small business owners. And probably the greatest resources you have that you turn to in building your business are other people who are running businesses. So I think it was very wise to have put together a panel of recent new employers here today to talk about their journey that they've had in making the decision to hire, what it's done for their business, and some of the challenges they've had, some of the thought process they've gone through, and some of the benefits that they've had as well. And so nothing is as useful as things that people are really experiencing. And we've got three very thoughtful and very interesting small business owners here with us. So let me introduce each of them. Right here to me, wearing the Keep Calm and Rock On T-shirt, is Hansel Lin, who's the owner of a very cool company. It's the School of Rock Palo Alto, which is performance-based music school and camps. I told him I have a nephew I'd love to have a job there. Just a chance for young people to learn how to be the rock star, take out the inner rock star, and learn to perform that as well. And Hansel has just recently become an employer. He launched his business in January of this year. So his information is fresh, and we're excited for you to be a new business owner. Next to him is Alex Moore, who is the CEO and founder of a company called Baydin, and they make an email productivity tool. Their flagship product, Boomerang, has had 2 million downloads, which is pretty darn exciting. And they moved here, he and his two other co-founders moved here from Boston in 2010 to take advantage of the talent and the funding in Silicon Valley. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about his journey in hiring. And last but certainly not least is Elisa Beck, who is the owner of Early Discovery's Childhood Development Center, which was voted the best preschool in her area in San Jose. And Lisa started her business in 2009. She had been in the industry before, and like many entrepreneurs, had felt that she could do things, wanted to build a business that represented the quality and qualities that she held dear, to launch a business that really reflected the values that she wanted to make sure that she had in a preschool. So all three of these are small business owners or entrepreneurs, very much like yourself, who've made that decision. Hansel left high tech to become an entrepreneur and follow his entrepreneurial dreams. So I'd like to start by asking each one of you just briefly to tell us how many employees do you have, what kind of jobs you hire them to do, and what was the first hire that you made in terms of the type of job you did?
Okay. Sure, Rhonda. So first of all, thanks for that rousing introduction. The hires that I've made, so I've only been open, as Rhonda said, for about 3 months. So I've had to hire about 5 music instructors. So at the core of it, we're a music school, so we need music instructors to teach, guitar, keyboards, all that type of stuff. So I had to hire about 5 folks to come on. They're all music instructors. They're all part-time folks that come in on an hourly basis to teach, the lessons that we have signed up for. I'm currently up to, I've been open for, 3 months, and I'm currently up to 10 employees. 9 of them are part-time music instructors, and I also have 1 studio coordinator, a front desk person.
So you had to hire right from the beginning.
That's right.
Good. Alex.
So we're currently a team of 7, 5 engineers, and 1 graphic design and marketing person, and 1 customer support and office manager. 6 of us are full-time, and 1 is a contractor right now. We made our first hire about a year after we got up and running, and it actually isn't any of those people or any of those roles that we currently have. We kind of realized during that summer that there were a lot of things that weren't getting done because we were 3 engineers as the co-founders. So we really wanted to build product and make product and talk to customers and make more product. And we kind of just put out a job posting for, hey, we want somebody to come in and do all these other things.
How'd that work out for you, Alex?
Not as well as we kind of would have liked. We realized that we didn't, by not having a clear idea of what responsibilities we actually wanted someone to have, we weren't going to be able to find someone who was going to match up with the needs we really had.
Very good. Lisa?
We currently have 9 part-time employees, full-time employees, and 1 part-time employee. I guess my first hire, I left my teaching position as a kindergarten teacher in 2007, and one of the other teachers who was working with me was also leaving, and I approached her and said, hey, we're looking for a site to open a preschool. Do you want to come over and work with us? So I actually hired her before we had a site or a license or any permits. But I would say that was probably the best thing we ever did, was hiring someone just from day one to just relieve the pressure.
Good. So what was the process like of hiring in terms of where did you advertise? Did anybody give you any help in having to figure it out? The problem of setting the salary or trying to figure out what the right salary was? You had some help, didn't you, Hansel?
I did. So School of Rock is actually a franchise. It's actually a fairly large franchise. There's over 100 of our schools across the country. So I did buy into a franchise, so I'm a franchise owner. They are, they're really cool, just laid-back rock and roll guys, and they're always super helpful in terms of, whether it's hiring or everything else. They were able to help me not only review resumes, they told me what kind of skills to look for. They even told me what market rate to shoot for from a national level. One thing I definitely learned is, they gave me a number and they said, hey, across the country, this is our average. This number includes LA, this number includes New York, and they said you should definitely be able to get that there. I wasn't even close. I mean, I had some people sort of laugh at me and say, that's a joke, guys. So, so the Bay Area is more expensive than LA, than New York, than pretty much most of the rest of the country.
And that affects small businesses. I find that myself too, is that even if you're a small business, you're competing against big guys for getting the talent that you want. So it is more expensive here.
We had to learn a lot more by the School of Hard Knocks because we didn't know. We didn't have anyone to really tell us what we were doing. From a salary and general standpoint, the best resource we had is that we share investors with a lot of other really good startups. So we were able to access some salary data. We were able to get a sense for here's what we should be paying, and here's what some areas that have worked well for some of the other companies have been. What we found worked the best for finding people, we've had pretty bad luck with ads in general, just posting up on job boards. The things that we found that have worked the best are referrals, even if they go a couple levels deep. We've got someone who came in 3 levels away from a referral, but it was via people who were solid all the way through. And then actually reaching out to our own customer base worked pretty well for us because the kind of people we want to hire are productivity nerds, and they tend to use our product.
That's interesting, the idea of reaching to customers as potential for employment applications, applicants. Lisa, you didn't have investors or a franchise
just my
helping
husband
you.
and I in our house. Which our school is not in our house, but our house is a part of it. It was a really long journey, the hiring process in the beginning, and we found that ads were not effective. We were being inundated with hundreds of responses and kind of wowed at some of the resumes that came are not necessarily in the most positive way. But we found that the best over the 4 years is through agencies. When I have a teacher out ill, I'll use an agency like Childcare Careers, and they'll send over a substitute teacher. And we'll keep using that person a few times to kind of as a trial period, and then you can actually buy their contract and make them an actual employee. The other thing is a lot of word of mouth. Parents coming in saying, oh, I know someone who works at my son's old child care center, or other teachers bringing in their friends. One employee I've actually gone back to school. I'm currently working on a master's in human development, and I've been able to resource with a lot of other directors, and they've been able to give me referrals to who other teachers are, what the salary range is in this field, because it does range from minimum wage to $20 an hour, so that's a huge gap. So talking to other directors and other owners has been a big help for me.
And Lisa, when we were talking the other day, you were saying that although you can't necessarily compete with some of the bigger schools for money, what do you do to be able to be competitive with them and be more attractive to applicants?
So we are a small business, and I'm there every day. So one of the things that I do is I make sure that all my employees know that there's nothing that I would ask them to do that I wouldn't do myself. So if the toilet's clogged, I'm usually the one that's unclogging it. If the custodians didn't mop, I'm the one that's mopping. The other thing is we have this environment where it's very community-oriented, so everybody's a part of the decision-making process. Before we make a decision, we have a staff meeting and we talk as a group as to whether or not this is what we want to bring into our community, if it's what we want to do as a staff. I feel that when I include my staff, they're actually on board and will pretty much go along with everything I want as long as I hear their opinions, and oftentimes their opinions are better than mine. So,
Well, along that line, I'd like to ask each of you, how has your company benefited or changed as a result of having employees? And particularly, I guess, you, Alex, the three of you were doing it all yourself, and what did you find that having employees did for your company?
Several things. From a straight up, X's and O's perspective, just everybody we brought in to do something is better at it than the three of us were. So, for example, when we hired someone to do customer support, they are much more patient. They don't get snappy and angry, and I become really belligerent and not very nice. I mean, they're telling me that my baby is ugly, and when you hire someone who's a customer support person, they don't take it quite as personally. When we hired our graphic designer, I can't draw a stick figure, and she makes everything look so much better. But even more than that, I mean, one of the nice things about being a small business is that we're able to pick people who embody the kind of culture that we want to have. So everybody brings in a different dynamic, a little bit different background, a little bit of a different, diverse, upbringing. But all of them share and value some of the same things that we do, like productivity and, caring about making things that are useful. But then they bring different elements of fun to it. One guy started us off with puzzles, and now we have a puzzle on our dining table that, makes a mess. But it's wonderful. And just different things like that. Making the culture more fun, more vibrant, and more interesting is as valuable as the actual benefit to the business financially.
Hansel, I know you're new, so what are you finding so far?
Well, I think for me, my business is based on inspiration and passion. So what my employers have added to my business is that additional passion. Rock and roll is a very enthusiastic and fun and type of business. So I've had I've had a teacher who would say, "Oh man, I've been teaching for 6 hours and I'm so beat and I'm just going to go home and I'm going to play some more guitar." So that's what they do. They bring that passion with them, right? It's amazing to see. We teach a lot of kids, and it's amazing to see the kids' eyes sort of shine, especially when we do rock shows, because that's what we do. We do rock shows. That's the inspirational part. And what all the teachers do is they come and they inspire the kids. Our tagline is inspiring kids to rock on stage and in life. So I think my employees really help. All the music teachers are a really big part of that message.
I forgot to mention that Hansel was in a cover band himself. So I asked him if he'd sing for us, and we're not sure we can get him to do that. So tell me about some of the challenges of having employees. I mean, obviously we've been talking about its benefits and all, but there are challenges in dealing with them. And a little bit about some of the challenges you may have faced and how you handle them a bit. Lisa, I'm looking at you.
Okay. I guess for us in the preschool, because it is, we do have to follow state rule ratio. So if somebody's got something personal going on, or if someone's ill, you have it affects everyone else in the school, and so we need to get a substitute in there. It's hard to find someone that can be there every day. You need someone there 5 days a week and to put your stuff behind you. And I guess for me as the director, my challenge is to be able to I was just in a workshop where they said, Carrie said, be human. And I guess part of being human is recognizing that we all have issues, that we're going to bring them to the table, and how to work with that person rather than against them, so that the company can be successful, and that when they are back where they should be, they're willing to work that much harder for you.
I think Lisa's points were exactly where I'd go too. I mean, the thing is, when you're a team of 7 people, if somebody has a personal issue, it is to some extent everybody else's personal issue too, because it impacts the whole team. I mean, somebody comes in under a cloud the whole day, everybody else is just kind of mopey, and so the personal issues are definitely a challenge. The other challenge that we kind of faced is there's always a balance, right? Because you have to make payroll and you have to have enough money coming into your business, and it's variable, and it's a startup, and things change. So it's, for me, my mom was a payroll accountant, and one of the things that I learned growing up is you don't mess up your employees' payroll. But you don't necessarily know, 3 months out, will we have enough in the bank to make payroll? And you don't want to mess that up for people. So it's a challenge to some extent. Yeah. It's one of the things you wake up in the middle of the night like, oh, God, there's no money. And then you're like...
We've all been there.
And then you wake up and there's a little bit of money. And you're like, okay, nightmare. Go back to sleep.
For me, one of my bigger challenges is, so my product is very much based on my music instructors, the lesson scheduling and all that stuff, and a lot of private lessons. So if some of the folks are sick or whatnot, or they don't work out, there's a lot of scheduling issues. So I was open for, I think, probably 2 weeks. I had a good set of students lined up and whatnot. I had one guy that he turned out to be a little bit too aggressive with the kids, so I decided I needed to let him go. He had a good slate of students with him, but I decided it was the best thing to do for me to let him go long term. As soon as I decided that, another guy sent me an email and basically said, "Hey, you know what? I'm getting really sick and I've been overworked and I can't work your job anymore." So I quit, and here's your 2-day notice. So all of a sudden, I was left with these 2 guys out of 5 that I had gone. And boy, that was pretty stressful. But I think the message is that it all works out in the end. So I just I was able to find musicians that were able to sub for these guys and start building that back up. What I had to do is just cancel a couple days, and parents are just they're really understanding about that type of stuff. So it was a huge stumbling block, but I got over it, and now I know how to deal with it when it happens again.
All right. So best advice that you'd give people who are thinking about hiring for the first time or in the process of it? Something you wish you knew.
Okay. I'll go. So I think it's back to my passion message. So when I hire somebody, what I want to see is, I'm almost less interested in how good they are at guitar. If they come in and they're passionate and they want to have the kids learn and really, that's what it's all about. I don't want the guys who come in and ask, what's the pay period and how much am I getting paid. I want them to ask, when's the rock show? When can I put the kids up on the stage? I had one guy who came in, and he's from Gilroy, and my school's in Palo Alto, so it's like a 45-minute drive. He has written top 40 songs. His band is open for Motley Crue, and I was like, so why do you want a part-time job working for me? And he said, I just want the experience. I want the kids, to really get it. And after he left, I was like, oh, you know what? I don't even know if he can play any guitar because I forgot to ask him about it. So I think really it's all about the passion. Make sure they're passionate.
Could he play guitar?
He can play guitar.
Alex, what's your words of wisdom of advice?
Mine will be a little bit less inspirational. I'd say make sure you know what responsibilities you want the person you're hiring to do when you hire them. And if you're hiring for a role where you don't have a whole lot of experience, get some help from somebody who does. So when we need to hire a salesperson, I don't know anything about that. So we're going to get some help from one of our investors or one of our advisors to help us screen them, figure out, do they know what they're doing?
Lisa.
I guess what I would say for us and what I would advise you to do is when you're hiring someone to follow your gut, everybody knows how to interview. What I've found, most people know how to interview. And the ones that don't, you can screen them out fairly quickly. If you get a feeling that something just may not be right, and it's not because the person you don't like their clothes, but just something's not really clicking, I would follow your gut. Every time I have not followed my gut in some way or another, I've been sorry. Later on, I've been able to think, oh, okay, because she said something that put up a slight red flag, and I kind of let that go, and everything else was great. And then later on, I find out that she believes in hitting the kids with a flip-flop or something like that. So just really follow your gut and go along with it. And you think I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm not kidding. Just go with your gut.
Well, we'll leave you with that image there. But we do have time for a few questions from the audience, so I think we'll open it up for those of you who are eagerly questioning. Someone will run and get a microphone.
I want to ask the rock and roll gentleman. You mentioned that your employees' performance or their, the amount of students that they train is kind of tied to your bottom line. Do you discuss that with them? Or are they aware of what they need to produce in order to make the necessary contribution to the company?
No, for me, not at all. I don't discuss numbers at all with them. It's all about, hey, do you want to be here to teach the kids, or do you want to have a paycheck? The paycheck to me is for them sort of a bonus, and I just want them to come here and be passionate about their job, and I think that's what drives them to produce a better product for me.
Okay. You had a question?
Yeah, Lisa, I was curious, what kind of impact did having to, I imagine using temporary workers or contractor workers would be more expensive than your own employees, but, and I know that in childcare there's certain law requirements for that, but at the same time, did that really help the business? Was that just so that you could get by until you got the right employees? How effective, what kind of impact did that have?
I think it was very effective. It's quite costly. It's about 3 times the cost of an employee. But it took off a lot of stress out of the center, and I use them a lot more than I probably should. But what does happen is everybody leaves the center wanting to come back the next day. It is very stressful. It's not just physically stressful working with children. It's emotionally stressful. And the last thing you want is you have a choice of, do I save $1,000 today and have my staff burned out tomorrow, or do I just throw out the money and have my staff come back tomorrow morning and not have to worry about it? I do, like someone asked about Hansel about letting their staff know. I do let my staff know the cost of a sub. So they are aware that how much it's costing the center and where the money is coming from. But I would definitely say it's beneficial. May not, if you were a financial advisor, you'd probably say not. But as an owner, yes.
I think we have one.
I have this question from all three of you, but especially the gentleman in the middle. For a company that grows, that is growing, you're at the beginning of your journey, so things are changing and flipping very fast. You said that one should know exactly what one is hiring for, but what do you do when your company is growing very fast and everything's changing and the job description changes and you need flexibility? How do you go about that? I don't know how to pose a question any better.
Yeah, great question. I mean, sometimes you screw up. That's not the best answer. Sometimes you find that you can get some contract work done that's in a particular area you have now but don't know if you're going to need for a long time. So you hire a contractor for a brief period of time and see how it goes and see if that solves the problem. It also helps if you can hire people who have a capacity and a desire to grow, because the responsibilities, I mean, for all of us have changed over time, and all of us have been excited about that. So we've hired people who've looked forward to that opportunity, and that's gone well for us. Does that help?
Hi. Thank you so much for your ideas, small business panel. But question I have is I want to go back a little bit in flashback. Remember when you hired your first employee, and at that time, what was the fear you were thinking in your mind while hiring your first employee?
Well, I guess I can go with that. So my first employee was a guitar instructor, and I think a lot of folks would feel kind of the same type of thing for whatever business they have. Is did I make the right decision? Is that the right guy? Can he actually do the job? I was telling something earlier today. In an interview, they may sound awesome, but you sort of never know until they actually work for you and do the actual job what they're going to be like. So that was my favorite.
Any other fears?
With my first employee, my fear was would I make payroll? That was I wasn't worried about her. I was worried about where is the money going to come from.
And that's a big fear for her. Your first fear is echoing that, Alex.
Yeah, definitely echoing that. And also, can we be a good place for the employee, because we'd never brought anybody in before.
Great. Well, thank you all. This has been a great panel. I think you've really helped people understand what it's like. And really terrific. And let me just say, for all three of them, for myself and for those of you who are thinking about it, one of the things I often say is that, being an employer and creating a good job is one way in which you can definitely change the world. We all want to make an impact on the world around us, and we write a check or we run a race or do other things. But when you create a good job and you treat people fairly and create a community and pay them fairly, and they go home at night feeling good so that they treat their spouse well and their children well and their family well, hopefully, then you have changed the world. And I hope that one thing you take away from this conference, this is the one thing I want to leave people with, is that if you create a job, you should be very proud of that. It's something you've done that really makes a difference. And small businesses do make a difference of that, and I hope you all take great pride in it, and I hope you all do as well. So we have giveaways as well. First, remember you can get my book later, and something even better than my book, hard to imagine, an iPad.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
I stole the. Oh, there we go.
You were great.
Hi. Thank you to the small business panelists. This was terrific. Just as we're setting up here, I thought I would share one piece of advice that an entrepreneur, I heard them talking about hiring. This is Tony Hsieh, who was the founder of Zappos. He said, hire slow, fire fast. I thought that was pretty good advice, and the few times I had to do it, it's painful. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid, but then afterwards you feel better. So hire slow, fire fast. Okay, I get another Oprah moment here. So this is Betsy. She runs our Love Our Local Business program, and this is for the iPad, the free iPad. So let's see. What do we have? You do have to be present to win. All right. So it's there. Everybody has a ticket? Okay. Are you ready? 622792. Oh, so close. Yay! We have a winner. Congratulations. There you go. Okay, and we have 2 more prizes to give away. We are giving away a week's worth of free radio advertisement with KCBS. Did all of you hear about that? So I have the winners here. Do we have Alan Lee in the room? Yay, Alan! Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations. So Elizabeth over there will set you up.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And then we have Quincy Marley Jr. Quincy? Sorry. Hi, Quincy. Congratulations. All right, so Elizabeth will get you all set up. So that's all we have for this panel. Please continue to enjoy the workshops and the booths, and we will see you later on today. Thank you so much.